All right. All right. So today I want to talk about a new idea, and we've alluded to it before, but this idea is called top-down design. So what we do with top-down design is we think about what we want to accomplish before we start thinking about how to code it, okay? And what we do is we think about what are all of the tasks we need to accomplish. You with me? So like for our robot game, we had our screen and we had our robot. Woo, 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 woo. And our robot was moving to the right, and then if we tapped on the robot, we'd get a point, and if we missed the robot, we would lose a point, right? And so when we think about this, what we want to do is before we start thinking about how we're going to code it, we simply think, what are the tasks? What tasks do we need to do? And again, when I think tasks, I'm thinking more like verbs, not nouns. You with me? So I'm thinking verbs, not nouns. So we know we're going to have a robot, right? So we need to draw our robot. And you'll notice that when I talk about tasks, these are also what functions are, right? The functions in our game were really the verbs of our game. So we draw a robot. We need to move our robot. We need to put score on the screen. We need to put our lives on the screen. Right? We need to, let's see what else we need to do. We need to draw our background. What else do we need to do? We need to check if I hit or not. Right? We need to be able to increase score. We need to be able to decrease lives. So far, so good. And we need some way to end our game. And thinking of that, we might also want an opening screen, right? So you know what? I'm not going to say opening screen. I need to start game. So far, so good. After I end the game, I might want to draw a game over screen. And I may also want to draw an opening screen. All right, now once we've got this big list of tasks, the next thing we're going to do is think about some of these are related to each other. I might be able to go together with each other, right? So like for example, when we did our draw robot, we grouped these three ideas right here. And we put them in a function called update screen, right? So those three ideas got put together in a function. So we also know that these kind of go together because we need, oh, wrong tool. We know that if I check if I hit the robot, that's when I'm going to want to increase score and decrease lives. So we know these kind of go together also. So I might pull those out. And this is check hit. This was our check hit function. So far, so good. And we know that our end game and our draw game over screen are going to kind of go together, yeah? So I might pull those together, and then I might pull together my draw opening screen and start game. These go together in some way. So what we end up starting to do now is we start seeing what things need to happen. So move robot might be its own thing, and draw robot was its own thing. So now we've got a number of discrete tasks that we can start to work on. And so I can start to think about how these go together. And along the way, I might decide there are other functions that I also need that I might want to create as I go because they they tend to lend themselves to it. Good functions will do really one task. And when I say one task, I mean one verb. So there might be several lines of code in there, but they're really focused on one verb. And so as soon as you start adding a second verb, what you really want to do is create a new function for that new verb that is called from within your function. So for example, when once we got the robot game going, we realized we had functions for draw robot, move robot, update screen, and check hit. Sorry, check hit was in the mouse press function. So we ended up creating a new one when we were really getting going that we called run game. And inside of run game, it called update screen. It also called draw robot and move robot. So those were all called from within the run game function. So our functions that we create can call other functions that we create. And that's all part of this top-down design idea. So let's think about how we would apply this in a new situation. So you may have heard of the game Flappy Bird. You may have even played the game Flappy Bird before. But in this one, the user taps the screen. That's the only interaction the user has, is to tap the screen. And tapping the screen causes the bird to flap. So it kind of starts it moving up, and then it starts to fall again. And the idea is to make it between the pipes. As you make it between the pipe, you score a point. And you notice the bird really just is moving up and down. The bird does not move right and left. We get the illusion of the bird moving to the right because all of the pipes are moving. So the background is moving, but the bird is more or less stationary, just moving up and down. So if we were going to code Flappy Bird, what sort of things would we need to be able to do? That's what we need to think about now. So if we're going to think about the functions we need for Flappy Bird, all right, so we should always have an opening, right? So we always need a way to start the game. So I'm going to write that and draw opening screen. So we know we're going to need those. And we also know we're going to need a end check and a draw game over. So far so good. Now, up in the top, start game might be its own function that calls draw opening screen if the game hasn't started yet. Or you might draw opening screen as part of the start game function. That's kind of a stylistic thing. Same thing with our end check. Our end check may call the draw over screen, or it may just be its own thing. It may be inside of end check, and that's fine. But then we also need to draw the bird. We need to move the bird because we need to, I'm going to just say flap. So, right, that's to cause the bird to start to move upwards. We need to draw our pipes. We need to move pipes. So far so good. We need to do the whole thing where we put score on the screen. We need to check to see if we hit pipes. We also need to check to see if we hit the ground. And then we need to end the game. Oh, we already have an end check. So far so good. So these are the tasks that we need to do. Now once we've established the tasks we need to do, we can start to think about how we create them and how we use them. So when we're coding this, once we start coding this, you know what, we're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. But for right now, what I want you to do is I want you to go to your game idea that you created yesterday with your group or 2 days ago with your group. And I want you to think about what are the tasks you would need to do in your game, in this top-down design idea. If you can, start to think about how you might put some of those together, okay? So that's one of the things you're going to do today, is that you're going to take those ideas that you came up with your group and think about individually how you would break that down into individual tasks, okay? So that's what I want you to do. So what are the big tasks? What are the verbs that your game is going to have, okay? That's one of the things you're doing today, and then check Schoology for the other stuff we're doing today.